Previously, Sori tries to master being a shepherd because he wants to get the girl. Sorry, I mean save the world. Same thing, I guess. The hero always gets the girl. Will he finally be the shepherd he is destined to be? Velvet and Sears are about to escape the island, but they are intercepted by Artorias' soldiers, led by a very young and handsome man named Oscar Dragonia. Oh, why do the blondes have to be bad? With no other option left, Velvet prepares to fight her way through the soldiers to get to Artorias and decides to engage Oscar in battle. However, just as they are about to fight, a Hellion dragon appears suddenly and attacks them, forcing them to work together to defeat this monster, the enemy of my enemy. Despite their efforts, they are overwhelmed by the dragon, and Velvet is severely injured. The dragon is about to kill her, but Sears saves her just in time, and she takes a direct hit from the Hellion, leaving her near death, even though she could have rolled out of the way. Right after, Rokuro and the great sorceress Magilo arrive to help them out, as they need their help to escape from the island. Meanwhile, Sears leans towards her death and asks Velvet to devour her in order to gain devastating power that will enable her to defeat the dragon. Velvet devours Sears and gains incredible power, becoming 10 times stronger. This just proves that swallowing makes you stronger. With her devastating power, Velvet rushes toward the battlefield and decimates the dragon with ease. After witnessing her power, Oscar figures out that Velvet absorbs Sears and decides to kill her, because an abomination like her cannot be loose in the world. Didn't you just see what she did to the dragon you couldn't beat? However, Velvet completely overpowers Oscar and his men, defeating them with a single swing of her sword. Oh, they never learn. Afterward, Velvet hijacks Oscar's ship and remembers her vendetta against Artorias. She heads over to the capital to get her revenge on him, with Rokuro and Magilo by her side. Wouldn't want to be that guy. Back to the calamity that is about to befall the Lady Lake City, Sori feels for Alicia's life as the tornado heads towards the palace, almost like it has a mind of its own. Maybe it just wants to talk to her. Meanwhile, Alicia tries to evacuate everyone into the palace, but she quickly realizes that Sori plans on facing the tornado head on. Lele warns him not to attack the Hellion as he is not powerful enough, but Sori refuses to back down. This could either go down in history as the bravest or the dumbest thing Sori has ever done. However, the dragon suddenly disappears, but Macleo states that a great evil is coming, as dragons are a manifestation of ill omen. Just take the win, bro! Afterward, Alicia and the people of Lady Lake rushes out to show their gratitude to Sori for chasing the dragon away, even though he had nothing to do with it. Maybe he might get a girl. Rose looks on in the crowd and walks away in disgust as they praise Sori. Not long after, Bartlow invites Sori to dinner to thank him for saving the town, but Alicia believes that he has evil intentions. She tries to warn him, but a naive Sori asks her to join him instead, and she accepts his proposal in order to protect him. Dude probably thinks it's a date. On their way to Bartlow's home, Sori notices the destruction that has been caused by the Hellion, and Lele reveals that the city will soon be overwhelmed by malevolence. Upon arrival, Alicia is not allowed to have dinner, forcing Sori to dine alone with Bartlow. Not the best date. While they eat, Bartlow asks about his relationship with Alicia, but Sori reveals that they are just friends. But we all know the truth. Bartlow then proposes a toast, but Macleo doesn't trust the Lord and tastes the wine to ensure that it is not poisoned. Are seraphs immune to poison, though, or he would have died? Shortly after, Bartlow tries to persuade Sori into fighting for him, but he reveals that he is going after the dragon, as it is his destiny to rid the world of malevolence. He is going to die. After the meeting, Alicia reveals that she is heading to Marlin City to see the king and help the people that have been inflicted by the plague. Meanwhile, Bartlow prepares to wage war on the neighboring city as soon as Alicia is out of Lady Lake City. Later that night, Macleo decides to leave Lady Lake to retrieve the legendary divine artifact in order to gain enough power to protect Sori, because he feels useless. The next morning, although Sori is saddened about his friend's departure, he decides to let him go because he believes Macleo can handle himself, except he can't. Moments later, he heads over to the capital and agrees to escort Alicia to Marlin City after she reveals that a dragon is looming in the forest. Meanwhile, Macleo is attacked by a Hellion that he cannot see, which causes him to fall down a cliff and crash into the woods. Doesn't look like he can handle himself. Later that night, Alicia's men are attacked by a Hellion, but Sori defeats the monster with his devastating power. The next day, Sori parts ways with Alicia to find the dragon that is plaguing the city, just as McLeo arrives at his destination. While they go to bed, both men think about their childhood and their love for ruins. The following morning, McLeo explores the ancient ruins, trying to find the artifact, while Sori encounters Edna, an Earth Seraph who falls into his arms. I might need to take some lessons. They are soon attacked by an angry-looking Hellion, but Edna evades the monster with ease. Sori then attacks the Hellion, using his flaming sword to strike the beast multiple times, but his attacks are ineffective due to the malevolence surrounding the monster. However, in an instant, Zavid, an Air Seraph, swoops in and destroys the Hellion with ease, using his gun. Not cool, bro. Kinda stealing the spotlight. Sori gets angry at him for killing the Hellion, as it could have been saved and purified. Yeah, before or after it kills you. While they talk, a dragon with a very powerful malevolence appears to attack them, and Zavid reveals that the dragon is Edna's brother, Aizen, who he wants to kill. Aizen orders them to leave his domain, but Zavid refuses to listen, forcing Aizen to attack Sori, who thinks Aizen can be purified again with the purification. However, Zavid manages to rescue him just before he gets crushed by the dragon, and Lele reveals that Aizen cannot be purified because he has become a fully manifested dragon with strong malevolence. Zavid prepares to attack Aizen, but Edna steps in and stops him. In that moment, Aizen tries to kill his sister, but Sori manages to save her and takes her to a safe place, while the other Seraphs manage to keep the dragon away. Elsewhere, McLeo finally finds the artifact he is looking for, which turns out to be a bow, and he quickly decimates the Hellion that tries to attack him. Kinda reminds me of Legolas. After successfully evading the dragon, Edna reveals that Aizen was a Seraphim who adored humans. However, he suddenly became a dragon because of the negative energy around humans. Yeah, he is a dumb Seraph. She also reveals that she tried to turn him back into a Seraph, but she has been unsuccessful, as there is no way to purify a dragon except kill it. See, now there's the solution. Despite hearing this, Sori is determined to save Aizen and decides to find a way to purify him. Oh, this guy is dumb. While they talk, Sori spots Zavid engaged in an intense battle with Aizen and decides to intervene in order to prevent the dragon's death. However, his plan backfires. Even though he attacks the dragon with his flaming sword, Aizen slams him into a cliff. Edna tries to save Sori, but gets beaten up, and Aizen is about to burn her to a crisp. An injured Sori rushes over to save her, but he realizes that Aizen already stopped himself, as he cannot bring himself to kill his sister. He flies away, but his actions manage to convince Zavid that he can be saved, and they all decide to look for a cure together. To thank him for his kindness, Edna chooses to be his sublord, and they set off to their next destination. Another girl. This guy is a shepherd for women. Elsewhere, Alicia is caught up in a storm and discovers that the bridge leading to Marlin City has been destroyed. Despite the setback, Alicia manages to find a way across and continues to ride to Marlin City. She could feel her mission washing away. No? Okay. Meanwhile, Layla tries to teach Sori how to purify a Hellion, but he doesn't succeed. After multiple attempts, and Layla tells him that he needs to train in order to master his abilities, which is code word for "you are weak." The next day, McLeo is awakened by a scream, and he quickly realizes that a Norman Seraph is being attacked by a Hellion. With his newly acquired bow, Legolas, McLeo, destroys the Hellion after the Norman Seraph lends him power, even though it weakens the creature. After defeating the Hellion, the Seraph introduces himself as Attack, and praises McLeo for being so knowledgeable, despite being so young. Sounds like a compliment and insult. He then explains that Norman Seraphim are weak, but they have the ability to intensify the power of other Seraphs, kinda like stats boosters, but in Seraph form. However, McLeo reveals that the Hellion was not purified, and deduces that the divine artifact can only purify Hellions when fused with a shepherd. After figuring out that there will be more Hellions in the woods, McLeo advises Attack Attack to move away from the forest and reveals that he is heading over to the base of the dark cloud forming in the sky in order to find his friend. Attack decides to tag along with McLeo until he finds a new home and they can defeat Hellions with ease. He then shakes hands with McLeo, who allows him to tag along, thereby forming a new bond. Elsewhere, Sori discovers that Alicia is in trouble after returning to the location he last saw her. With fear in his eyes, Sori borrows a horse from Alicia's men and takes off to Griffy Bridge with the princess on his mind. Meanwhile, Alicia still ventures through the storm, but it suddenly stops, prompting her to turn around, and she notices that the dark cloud is no longer accumulating, but rather stays at a particular spot. She deduces the storm has been conjured by negative energy, but decides not to explore the area and focus on the mission, which is to deliver medicine to Marlin. At this point, everything is malevolent. However, the bridge she saw on the map is broken, leaving the princess devastated. Despite being disappointed, Alicia is determined not to give up, and she searches for another alternative, wading through the water. With Maltron's help, Alicia and other soldiers put the medicine onto a small boat, but it starts to rain. Maltrons look up to see the clouds swirling, and something comes down from the clouds, sucking up soldiers in the process. A Hellion appears in the cloud, but Sori arrives just in time and reunites with Maltron. Sori fuses with Edna, and they attack the Hellion, but a Drake swoops in and attacks the Hellion. Layla reveals that Drakes can still be purified, but the beast manages to escape as it flies away, making Sori frustrated in the process. Afterward, Layla informs Sori that the Drake is heading towards Marlin. After learning that Alicia is also on her way to Marlin, Sori armatizes with Edna and forms a rocky path in place of a bridge. Meanwhile, McLeo and Attack continue to search for Sori, and they each discover that they are acquainted with Layla. Attack states that there is a relationship between them, which is so weird. Shortly after, they see a river, and McLeo finds out that Sori is heading towards Marland. Upon arrival, Sori is shocked at the state of the city and figures out that the Drake is responsible for the calamity after Edna reveals that the Malevolent's presence in the city is just as big as Aizen's. Elsewhere, Alicia tends to the sick people in the city, and Sori finally reunites with her. After seeing Sori, she breaks down, revealing that the medicine is not working. Sori, alongside Edna and Layla, go after the dragon, but it easily overcomes Sori's attacks. Edna realizes that the Drake is about to become a dragon after acquiring enough power, but Sori is determined not to let that happen. Layla states that only the artifact currently in McLeo's possession can defeat the dragon, and Sori decides to keep the Drake distracted after sensing McLeo is close. However, his plan fails, and the Drake attacks Layla instead, but McLeo and Attack arrive just in time. Layla then tells Attack to hurry over for their Sublord Pact and chants a really fast incantation, causing Sori and McLeo to merge together. They power up the bow and then use Azure Assault to strike down the Drake in a spectacular move. The sky becomes clear as the Drake is purified, prompting Sori and McLeo to disperse. They then give each other their signature handshake, which is now my favorite handshake. However, the younger dragon turns out to be a Rohan, the male seraph that protected the Marland region. He thanks Sori for saving and freeing him. Sori and his men overcome the problems in Marland City and decide to return to Lady Lake. Meanwhile, Attack plans to stay back in Marland to help Rohan fix some problems. Before leaving, Alicia asks her gangs to supply the city with food supplies and also gets help from a group of traders, which is led by Rose. Arriving at Lady Lake, Alicia is surprised to find out that Bartlow is preparing to start a war in Rollins. After hearing the news, she and Sori leave for Glavend Basin at the border of Highland and Rowlands, where Bartlow plans to start the war. While Sori tries to heal someone affected by malevolence, a group of assassins threatens to kill Alicia if she tries to prevent the war. However, Alicia does not care about their threats, as she is determined to stop the war, even if it means sacrificing her life. Upon hearing this, the leader of the group is impressed by her determination and gives up on killing her. He also reveals his identity to be Rose, who disguises herself in order to help her fight in the war. Shortly after, Sori, Alicia, Rose, and their men head over to the battlefield to stop the war, and Sori tells her that he will will neither support Roland nor Highland if the war begins, but he will try to stop it from happening as the shepherd. However, they find out that Highland has teamed with Malevolence to begin the war. Alicia then sets out to talk to General Landon into stopping the fight, but he doesn't listen to her and threatens to kill her if she tries to stop the war. Determined to stop the war, Alicia challenges Landon as she believes that the world can attain peace without war. Meanwhile, Rose plans to help Alicia, but this causes her to be stabbed by a man from her gang. Soon after, Dazel, a male seraph, arrives and tries to save them from being killed by Landon's tribes. However, Rose could not hold back her anger and kills all his enemies and apprehends Landon, holding him hostage. Meanwhile, a large group of Malevolence arrives at the battlefield, led by Heldolf, Lord of Calamity. Upon seeing Heldolf, Sori decides to purify him, and Heldolf summons several Hellions at him, but Sori has a strong belief in his powers. He continues the fight, despite not having enough strength left to defeat Heldolf.